But when they're coming in from a source other than the life that's in you, therein lies an issue. Because you can reduce the reality of it to fit your molding, if you will, within your own mind. Does it make any sense to you?
Yeah. Yes, it does. But all this hype here lately has been to concentrate on what the mind can do.
Absolutely.
You know?
And you know what? And the more that happens, the worse it gets. The more war we have, the more crap goes on, the more hurricanes and earthquakes. And yeah, I mean, yeah, let's focus on it. Let's go all the way here. Let's blow this planet to oblivion.
Mm-hmm.
Let's stress it out so much that it just tears apart at the seams. I'm really against something of that nature.
Well, I'm from New Orleans.
Right.
All my life, we've heard about the big one hitting New Orleans. It was an ingrained mentality. It was a mindset. It was expected. It was passed on from generation to generation. Katrina should have been no surprise to anybody. And so then you wonder, that's a power, a mind power. Is that a mind power, a mentality power? And like you said, it's dangerous if we're not aware that we can do these things with our minds.
Right.
Are those the dangers you're talking about?
Let's start at the very beginning. We have a thing called life force. Now, we could sit here and debate where it comes from or talk about where it comes from, but that doesn't change the fact that it exists. So, we'll go with what's actual. This life force is the universe at large. It is the living, what people refer to as God. They just don't know what they're referring to. The universe is alive. It's living. It's full of energy. You're alive, right? We're alive, right? Is everybody in here alive? Why is that? Because you have something streaming through you that's animating you. But if someone were to cut off your lifeline, the body drops. It's no longer being animated. Okay? So that's what you're starting with. We can neglect it, we can pretend it doesn't exist, but there's definitely something looking out of my eyeballs. There's an experience going on here. I am conscious, I'm alive, I'm talking, I'm sitting here. This is real. Just the stream moving through. Right? So that right there is the power of the universe itself. Do you think for an instant that if you applied it to something long enough that that thing would not occur? Do you think if you focus on something long enough that it's not going to happen? What a thought is basically a little, for me, I mean, I'll just be blunt. For me, it's a little turd with a little spot of life in it. That's what a thought is. Because it is nothing compared to reality. Nothing at all compared to the experience of the flowing life force. No thought compares. So, when one thinks, you really got to wonder what mind they're using. The one they've built or the one that is actually them. See, there's higher states of mind. And if we're higher states of beings, we're not in higher states of mind, we got a problem, we got a mess. Right? So, when one is creating an environment from a higher state of mind, it's because they can access a higher state of mind from being in a higher state of being. But when one wants to access a higher state of mind without a higher state of being, they tend to turn monstrous. They want to force it before they can handle it. And then you get crazy things going on. Right? Hitler had this idea of a higher mind. But his being was so putrid. But he's going to get to that higher mind anyway. And look how he did it. Storming the gates of heaven with his horns fully razor sharp. That's what's going on here. A bunch of beings not deserving because they have not lived the fullness of their being. They've been afraid of that. They all want in to a more beautiful world, heaven. They want in. Now they're tired of waiting. Right? They haven't learned patience. They haven't learned to think with a mature mind. They haven't learned to love one another. But boy, they want in there. They want into this beautified state. But they haven't thought of that throughout their lives. They haven't fueled that. There's no way that's going to happen. Because inevitably, who's in control? The universe at large. Is it going to go against itself? No. So inevitably, we're all going back anyway. It's just whether or not you'll be conscious of it. Because if you don't like what life gives you, you don't get life. So there will be no consciousness of it. It's just it's really not that big of a deal. It's just whether or not you want to continue. And this brilliant, 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 and lovely and wonderful thing called life. If you do, it's calling for people to give up their judgments. Give up their identification with things outside of themselves. You see, because I think a really sinister, ugly trick was played on human beings. I don't know who did it, but enough people have talked about it throughout, oh boy, millennia. So there's got to be a little reality to it. But I don't think it's quite as conspiracy theory as most people think. I think it's a little different. I think at some point, human beings were cut off from the source of life. Not that they were actually cut off, but their eyes were forced away from focusing on that. Right? It's fixated somewhere else. So inevitably, what happens is we stop noticing life itself, the movement of it, not the things we do with it, the movement of it. We stop noticing that. Right? So we become cut off from that source of life. So our life force is cut off. And we start to go down, down, down. It's like draining a battery. Right? If the battery's always plugged in, you're always getting juice. But the minute you unplug it, the juice is limited. So the minute the soul is cut off from what is giving it life, its life force is limited. And it slowly drains down and slowly drains down. And then it gets to a point where the being, you, recognize, whoa, something's wrong here. Right? And usually, naturally, you would turn your head back to the source of life. You would start lifting that block that's there and get the juice that you're supposed to be getting. But instead, they've kind of pulled you away from using this as your source of life. And they start offering you, oh, no, you feel bad here, have this. Oh, you're feeling like you don't know what to do with your time, here, have a television. Have this. Oh, no, you don't need to go to the source. We are the source. Here you go. Buy this. This is going to make you feel better. You need to buy that, because if you don't, oh, you're in so much trouble. Oh, you want to be more beautiful? Here, buy this. What are they playing on? They're playing on our lack of life force, ultimately, because life force is what we use to fuel everything we do. When that gets low, we get